Darren, time to pick your dream five-a-side team based on every player you've ever played with. I know you've seen this feature before.
Yeah.
It's tough for you, this, isn't it?
It's a tough one because obviously I've been blessed enough to play with some fantastic players over the years. So for me to pick 5 out of all them players I've played with, it's going to be difficult.
OK, so first up, keeper. Who's in sticks?
Keeper, I'm going to go for probably Scott Carson.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've said that a few times now, and it surprised a few people, but no, I played with Scotty at Charlton. I played him at Derby last few years, and also in England. And for me, he's been one of the most consistent and best goalkeepers this country's produced. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to look back at Scotty and think about that. Obviously, that one mistake he made against Croatia.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't qualify, but I mean, he had a season with me at Charlton where he was phenomenal. I mean, he won our Player of the Year. He kept us in so many games. And to be fair, he's been Derby's best player for the last 3 years as well.
Yeah, still playing now.
Still playing now, and he's been Derby's best player for the last 3 years easily as well. So for me, just for that consistency level and some of the saves I've seen him make, and just him as a person, and the work I see him do on a day-to-day basis, you know, what I mean, to improve his game even at his age now, he definitely has to take that number 1 spot for me.
Who's your standout defender from your entire career?
For me, probably the easiest position on the pitch, and that's Ledley King at Tottenham. I mean, I don't know if you've heard people speak about this guy before, but I remember playing against him at first, and you can watch someone on TV and not appreciate how good they are, but when I got to Tottenham and watched him every day, and you talk about a guy now that missed so many games, chunks of his seasons because of his knees. He had bad knees, but when he played, we ultimately won, or we got some kind of result. But there was nothing he couldn't do on the football pitch. I mean, he was strong, he was quick, he used to read the game, and I'll never forget the first time I played against Ledders. I scored 2. And we were meeting up with England the next week. I was at Charlton when he was at Tottenham. And I remember him saying to me, like, he was angry that I'd scored the 2, and he's like, I'm never letting you do that again. And I swear to you, I never scored against Tottenham again after he said that. Because he said to me, like, he made it his point to not let me score. But, I mean, he was fantastic. As I say, he was so quick, strong, and every time I always felt like I made the run, he was already there. I went to win the header, he was already above me. He was just one of them guys who read the game, and I'm pretty sure if he hadn't had the bad knee injuries, he'd have been playing for Real Madrid, Barcelona. He could have took his pick on anyone in world football. That
was literally my next question, because so many players we speak to rave about Ledley King, but a lot of them say, you know, he never trained. He I think swam, did he, instead of training because he had no cartilage in his knee? And how good do you think he would have been?
He would have been the best. Like,
had he not had that?
The best, because as you said, you're right there, because when I first got to Tottenham, he was training on a Friday. He'd come out and we were doing an Old v Young game on the Friday. Yeah. Then that started dwindled down. He just started doing like little volleys in the physio's hands just to get his legs moving, and then that went giving his knee problems, and he was just down to playing the game in the pool on the Friday, and then the next time we'd see him again would be walking out again on the Saturday because his knees were that bad. But if he'd been fit, I'm telling you now, he'd have been playing for Real Madrid, Barcelona. He could have took his pick any team he wanted to go to in world football. He would have gone to.
Wow, some praise. Okay, 2 midfielders now. Who's your first?
Well, my first one's up on the wall over there.
Luka. Yeah, I knew that you said that. I said in the office, if there's one player I'm certain you'll pick, it's Luka Modric.
100%. I mean, Luka is like arguably the best player I ever played with. He was fantastic. I mean, even when he got to Tottenham, people were giving him a little bit of stick about it. It took a while to gel in and learn the English game. But we saw it in training and we knew what was coming. Like,
I remember his first season at Spurs, people were saying, I'm not sure about this player. A lot of fans he was sort of hit and miss, wasn't he?
But he produced some games, and even when he went to Real Madrid, I remember that first season, he was in the team of the worst buyers of the season. But we always knew as players that, because we saw it in training, once he got to grips with this league and he started to play, he'd be one of the best players in the world, and arguably he's won it. It's a bit late and I thought he was going to win it, but I mean, there's nothing he couldn't do, Luka. I mean, he could pass it. I mean, we never really see him use his left. Everything was outside the right foot. And he's passing, you could never tackle him. In possessions, he was the best I've ever seen in possession. However tight the space was, you could think, right, I'm going to put a little bit on him, try and get it off him. He touch would just move it out of the way, move it. And to the point, he got his body in the way, you couldn't get anywhere near him. He'd probably be my captain as well.
Would he?
Yeah,
straight in with the caps?
Yeah, it'd be him or Ledders, but I'm going to side more with Luka Modric just because I feel we can have more impact on the game than probably Ledley King could.
Next midfielder?
Now this one was difficult because I chop and change this one, but I've only really started to really appreciate this player since he's retired, and that's Frank Lampard. Because I was always he was always that Gerrard or Lampard argument, and I was always like, well, look what Gerrard's done. He's got dragged Liverpool to Champions League final. Look how good he is. Look at the big performances. But if you look at Frank Lampard's goal record, stacked against anybody in any position, he's up there with one of the best. And if you think about Lampard now in today's transfer market, you're talking 150 million for him. The guy scored consistently 20 goals every season for about 10 years, which is incredible. He's a centre midfield player who's Chelsea's all-time top goal scorer, which is insane. And even the way he used to prepare for training, watching him for England, his attitude towards the game, like, I have to put him in.
You trained with him, obviously, and played with him for England, as you say. A lot of players say Lampard, is this fair to say that natural ability, he had to work on his development quite a lot, and he was one that stayed behind every day after training? Do you think a big part of his success is just how motivated he was to succeed as a player?
Yeah, I always hear people talking about he's had to maximise what he had to become a top player. Now, obviously, I only kind of met up with Frank in 2005-06, and by then he was already a top player. They'd already won Premier Leagues with Chelsea, and he was already a top player. But I could see his desire when we was at England training, how hard he worked, he got about, and like you just don't appreciate how good he is and how good he was until obviously he's gone. Because as I said, you look around the league now, there's no other midfielder that can get anywhere near him as terms of goal-wise. And if you look at the not only goals that he scored, the crucial goals he scored in crucial games, and how integral he was to Chelsea's kind of rise to what they are now. So for me, yeah, he definitely has to go in there. Yeah,
fantastic. Whenever we did teammates at the time he was playing, best trainer all the time, nailed on Frank Lampard every time.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Striker.
The striking is a tough one because...
Go on, name the ones that you're thinking of.
So obviously you've got people like Ledley King. No, you know what? No, I'm not. Now I've thought about it. No, I'm going to have to go with Wayne Rooney.
Okay.
Up top, because, like, obviously in the later years, obviously he slowed down a little bit. People questioned him left, right, and centre. But from the age of 16 when he broke onto the team till about 28, he was unstoppable. He was fantastic. And even getting to England, I remember going with Wayne to an under-16 tournament in La Manga. We went for a training session, and he was 15 at the time, or 14, or something crazy. Yeah. And I remember everyone was like, who is this kid? Who is this kid? And then I think he scored that outrageous goal in the Youth Cup as well, where he hit a free kick, came up to me and he volleyed it in against Tottenham top corner.
Yeah.
And I remember
that guy.
I remember being at Ipswich now, and the scouts had gone to watch him because we were playing Everton in a game at the weekend. And I remember saying, listen, you need to see this kid that Everton have got down there. Like, he's outrageous. And I remember thinking, what's his name? I remember saying to the coach, what's his name? And I said, his name's Rooney. I said, I've just been with him, like, in the manga, like, in the tournament. And I said, yeah, he's incredible. So for him to hit the heights, it wasn't surprising. I mean, I didn't expect him to hit the heights as quickly as he did. Obviously, being England's main man at 17 years old, going to the, was it 2004 Euros?
Yeah.
But yeah, Wayne, he had everything. He was quick, he was strong, powerful, unbelievable finisher, scored great goals, scored the tap-ins. So for me, he was like the ultimate centre forward.
And just name some of the players that you played with as well, because there's incredible strikers that you
you talk about, Jermaine Defoe, arguably a great goal scorer, Ledley King, Berbatov, Emil Heskey. I think he even had a little stint. I mean, if you take Soccer Aid a couple of weeks ago, Michael Owen.
You can Soccer Aid, yeah.
Throw him in. So, yeah, listen, there's been a few.
And Usain Bolt, technically.
Yeah. So there's been a few, but when I think about, Wayne, he's England's record goal scorer. And when I think about in training, watching him train sometimes when I first got in the squad, like, I remember thinking he was the one who had the biggest, like, impact on me, was me thinking, wow, like, what a player he is.
OK, if that team's not gelling, not saying it wouldn't be, but if it's not, you've got one super sub, who'd you pick?
Steven Gerrard.
Straight in?
Straight in, because if you want a player, if something's not going well, and you need a player to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, you think of Steven Gerrard. You think of the Champions League finals. You think about the Champions League games where he scores late, last-minute winners. You know what I mean? You talk about the FA Cup final, the 2 goals against West Ham. Yeah. Like, I'd like to get him in the first team, but I can't. But if I'm struggling and I need some player to come off of that...
It's not a bad sub to have,
exactly.
Is it?
If I need to get someone in that game who can change the game and really take the game by the scruff of the neck, it's got to be Steven Gerrard.
OK, and finally, manager. One manager that stands out from your playing career?
It's a hard one, and do you know what I mean? First and foremost, I've got to give a special mention to Alan Kirbishley, who come and got me from the Championship and gave me the opportunity at Charlton. Like, I'd love to be able to put him in. He'd be close, but for me, I'm going to have to go with George Burley.
OK.
Just because obviously he was the one who, like, spotted the potential. He's the one who gave me my debut really early, like 16 years old. He let me travel with the first team and train with the first team. He was a manager that when I was doing my extras after training, he'd come back out, he'd go in with the first team, come back out with me 1v1 and work on certain things like heading. Like, he'd be crossing the ball in for me to head it in. Now, me being a 16-year-old, like, you can only imagine how that felt for me. Not in the first team yet, but the first team manager is coming out and wanting to work with me one-to-one. You don't go out there and work with anybody. Yeah. But I'm going back out training an hour later and I see the gaffer trotting across the pitch going, right, D, get in the box, put these cones out, I'm going to cross a few in. Obviously, at the time, I had no power to get a goalkeeper in, so he obviously had to go, wait, come here, get in goal.
Young man, get in goal, yeah.
Get in goal now. And he was crossing them in, I'd do half an hour with him, and I said, them occasions there, like, that, managers don't do that anymore. And he's an old school manager, but his philosophy to the game was right, and how to bring a young player through he was the best at that.
Brilliant. Top team, that, Darren. Now, let us know what you think in the comments section below of Darren's team. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Soccer M's YouTube channel. Darren, thank you for your time, mate.
Thank you.